Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, so this is, oh God, what day is it? November? I don't know what
18.
day it is. November 18th, Sunday night, for our Team Style Boss Holiday Go Getter Gals. I don't know what we want to call this group. And so we're going to talk about sponsoring tonight. I have kind of broken this down over the years and figured out kind of like a really great 5-step process to sponsoring. And I promise you, when I do these 5 things, I sponsor like a mad woman. When I don't do all 5 of these things, I don't sponsor. So it's hard because not one of these is more important than the other. I feel like all 5 of them work and mesh really well together, and the 5 of them create an amazing cocktail for sponsoring. So if you don't do one of these, it's not to say that you're not going to sponsor, but I've definitely found that having all 5 of these things working together is kind of the best way to sponsor and get people excited and not have these like 2-month, 5-month, 6-month, 2-year conversations about sponsoring. It really kind of helps you offer it, get them to sign up, and move on from there. Okay, so the first one is talk to everyone. You cannot sponsor if you're not offering it to people. So we always tell you to book 1 show, you need to reach out to 10. I would say sponsoring is almost double that. So you almost need to talk to 20 people to at least sponsor 1 or 2. Because if you think about it, this is a much bigger, and we know it's not a huge commitment. We're not getting married, we're just dating. But you still have to offer it to at least 10 to 20 to try to sponsor 1. So Danielle Redner, she said this like years ago, and I always use this quote, like, if you're not sponsoring, it is because you are not talking about it. And I even know for me, when I look back in my notebooks of like the list of people that I'm talking to about sponsoring, when I'm sponsoring a lot, I'm talking about it a lot. I'm talking about it to every single hostess and not just offering it and like leaving it be. Like, I'm really having conversations about sponsoring. I'm offering it to almost every customer that is spending like 50 to 75 or more, because it's not that much more to sign up. You get a ton more product, especially this time of year. It is so great to offer that seasonal stylist opportunity. Kara and I were chatting today, and she had mentioned that she was talking about her email that she sent out to her customer base about being a seasonal stylist. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what a great way to offer it to everybody. Because a lot of times people want to be a stylist or they want to know more about what we're doing, but they are not going to ask us. I can't even tell you how many people that I've talked to about sponsoring. They're like, yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while. And I'm like, if you've been thinking about it for a while, like, why didn't you say anything to me? But that's not how this works. Most likely, people are not going to come knocking at your door asking to be a stylist. You have to offer it to them first. So really just talk about it. Don't be shy. Talk about it to everyone. There is something to be said about sharing what you're doing on social media. As every time I am going to a trunk show or doing a trunk show, I'm really trying to post something about it. Like today, I helped a girl on our team with a trunk show. And so I took like a really quick Facebook or a Insta story video just about the trunk show. If I'm headed to a trunk show myself, sometimes I'll just take a selfie and just showing people and creating awareness about what you're doing. So then when you're reaching out to people, they've probably seen you post about how much fun you're having being a stylist and posting about all the different shows that you're doing with all these different people. And I mean, we know that our job is super fun. We know that it really is just a girls' night with jewelry. It's not anything crazier than that. So when we are sharing how much fun it is, people see that. And so when you're offering it to them, they see how fun it is and they definitely want to be a part of it. I know for me personally, like around the time that I sponsored Kara, I was like super hyper focused on sponsoring, and I was sharing everything I was doing with Stella and Dot. And it wasn't overwhelming. If people didn't want to see it, they can easily block me. But honestly, most of the time, people are seeing what I'm doing. About 2 weeks ago, I ran into a girl that I went to elementary school with and middle school with. And to me, she was like one of the cool kids. And I like totally looked up to her. And I ran into her. I still think she's one of the cool kids. I still feel like a huge nerd with a bowl cut whenever I see her. And she commented to me like, wow, you're doing that Stella and Dot thing. And it looks like you're having a lot of fun with it. Didn't even know she was on social media. Like, I don't think I follow her on any platforms. I don't even think I realized that she has anything. And she, like, I didn't even say anything to her. She's the one that commented to me, and I think she's a cool kid. So for me, that's like a really big deal that people like that are seeing what I'm doing. And it's like that across the board. So talk to everyone, share with everyone. Don't be afraid to offer it to everyone. You absolutely never know what they're going to say. Honestly, like I've said this 1,000 times, Kara, the first time I met her, I was like way intimidated by her because she's so cool and she's tall and she's like gorgeous and effortless chic, and her husband's a volleyball coach. And I thought, like, there's no way she would ever want to do something like this. She has 2 little kids. Like, her husband's volleyball coach. He's gone all the time. And I happened to offer it to her at the right time. And she said yes. And she was on my chicken list for like a year. She knows all of this. But seriously, I probably would have, I've talked myself out of offering it to Kara 100 times. And I finally mustered up the courage, and she was like, yeah, actually, I've totally thought about it. And I was like, oh my God, you have. So you really never know who needs this in their life and who would want to do this.
Well, and I think the other important thing to mention with that too is, like, not only did she offer it to me, but it was something I'd kind of thought about before, but like I never would have just gone and signed up. If Amy hadn't offered it to me, I wouldn't have ever signed up. I kind of would have thought about it and like whatever, but I would never have just gone on the website or approached her, been like, I've been thinking about being a stylist. But because she asked me, I thought, well, yeah, like I have thought about it before. Like, let me chat with Matt. Like, let's talk about it. And
yeah, and there's plenty of people that I have had on my list about that I wanted to offer the opportunity to because they're super well connected or whatever the reason may be. And I told myself stories as to why they would say no, and they signed up for Dan and Fields, or they're doing Pampered Chef, or they're doing Isogenics, or they're doing Beachbody now. And who's to say that they weren't looking for something? And if I had offered Stella & Dot, they might have said yes. But because somebody else offered it to them, they said yes to them. So really, 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 and like I said, like none of these are more important than the others, but you have to talk about it. Otherwise, nothing's going to come of it. Number 2 is keeping it super, super simple. You have to simplify this. We know how great the Jumpstart rewards are. We know how great the comp plan is. We know how great it is to sell 1,000 in your Jumpstart and bring along a friend in your Quick Start, or sell 1,000 in your Quick Start and bring along a friend in your Jumpstart and promote to associate stylist. Like, we know how great all of those things are, but it is way overwhelming to somebody that doesn't know anything about what we do. So really keeping it simple and just saying, it's $199 to sign up. You get $350 in whatever you want, plus an additional $150 in bestsellers. And I will totally help you get started in your first 30 and 60 days. And then after that, we can decide how much you want to do. I honestly keep it at that and no more. If they ask me questions, I will answer it. But most of the time, I'm trying to tell them, like, honestly, it's just so simple. Like, we're not getting married. This isn't a lifetime commitment. You're not signing up for, like, what do they call it when it's like you just automatically reorder stuff? What's that? Like auto ship. It's not like an auto ship thing. You don't have to buy jewelry. You don't have to spend all your money on Stella & Dot. It really is as simple as it's $199 to sign up. I will help you shoot for $1,000 in the least at your first 30 days. And then we can figure out how much you want to do after that. That is all I say. Because again, if I say anything more than that, it's terrifying. It's super overwhelming. Oh, hi, Katie. I always think back to, like, honestly, it was probably the first sponsoring conversation I ever had with someone. And we went out to wine and we sat at wine, and I literally just word vomited all over her face. And I told her everything that I knew about Stella & Dot. Granted, this was probably like 5 months into me being a stylist. So I'd been a stylist long enough that, like, I knew enough. And I literally just told her every single thing I knew about Stella & Dot. I told her everything that I loved about Stella & Dot. I told her everything that Stella & Dot had done for me. I told her everything about the comp plan. I told her everything about promoting. And she, like, the longer we sat there, she just, like, she just did this and, like, sunk back into her chair. She's never signed up as a stylist because I terrified her and I told her way too much. So just keep it super, super simple. Tell them the basics of it. We know that it's really not like a huge commitment. It is $199 to sign up. You get $350 in whatever you want, plus $150 in bestsellers, and we will help you get launched. That is it. You really don't have to tell them too much more than that. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. The other thing really quick I like to add with that, there's a massive difference between you telling somebody about the 25% commission and we're a 1099 and them asking you those questions. Because most likely when somebody starts asking you those questions, you don't think like, well, crap, I can't tell her that because Amy said to keep it simple. No, she's asking you how much commission is, like, tell her how much commission is. And that's normally a good thing, because when they're asking you those types of questions, they're normally pretty serious about signing up. We're talking about, like, when you're first offering it and when she says, yes, I'm interested in hearing information. Keep it simple. Yeah. And then when she starts asking more detailed questions, like, you obviously answer them, but answer them as simply as possible. When she says, what's the commission? It's 25 to 35%.
Yeah. And another thing I always forget to mention is you never know who has thought about doing this and who hasn't thought about doing this. So I love the plant a seed and walk away, because if they've never thought about doing this before and you ask them, hey, have you ever thought about doing Stella and Dot? And you sit and wait for an answer, they're going to get kind of nervous and their immediate answer is going to be no, because they've never thought about it. So they don't know what to say or what to think or what to do. And so their instant reaction is almost always going to be no. So I always do the like, have you ever thought about doing this? I think you'd be great. You know what? I'm going to go check out this person and we'll talk about it later. Because then that gives them time to actually go think about it. Because who knows, it might be a yes, it might still be a no, but giving them time to figure that out without you like waiting for them to give you an answer right away is really, really key. So especially at trunk shows, this is really great. So planting a seed and walking away, and sending out personal messages also is a great way to plant that seed, because then you can send them a text message or send them a video message or whatever it is and just say, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I was thinking about you today and I think you'd make an amazing stylist. I would love to chat with you more about it. Think about it and I'll touch base with you in a couple days. And that gives them time to actually think about it. And they know that you're going to touch base with them in a couple days. So they have time to figure out an answer. Because I know sometimes when I send out text messages or messages about being a stylist, and I just kind of ask them, have you ever thought about doing this? They don't really know how to answer. And sometimes they walk away from the message because they're like, I don't know about this. I'm not going to answer right now. And then they forget. And then they really haven't thought about it. So when I say like, I'm going to follow up with you in 2 days to see if you've thought about this, I'd love to hear your ideas or thoughts. Then when I do follow up, most of the time they actually say like, you know what, I did think about what you said and I'm really not interested, or I did think about what you said and I'd love to hear more. So planting a seed and walking away is a really, really great way to literally plant the sponsoring seed and see what they think without like waiting for them to give you an answer. Because I put myself in that position and I would probably say no, because maybe I haven't thought about it. Or maybe I have and I'm not really sure I want to tell you that I've thought about it right then in that moment. I want to think about it a little bit more. So, okay. So then number 3 is figuring out what motivates or excites them. I kind of take this back to that first sponsoring conversation that I had with that girl. And I just like told her everything I loved about Stella and Dot. I never asked her what interests her in Stella and Dot. I never asked her what excited her about Stella and Dot. So when I was talking to her about it, I was just telling her what I loved. And it might not be anything that she loved. It might not be anything that she liked. Hi, Harper. Because if I'm motivated to do this because I want to get out of the house and all I do is talk about how much I get out of the house and how much girl time I have and how many fun things I get to do and how much I get to travel and all this stuff, maybe she's terrified of traveling and all she wants is $100 a month. And I'm talking to her about how much she can get out of the house. She's instantly going to be turned off and she's not going to want to do this because it's not what motivates her and it's not what excites her about Stella and Dot, because now she thinks, well, I can't make $100 a month. I have to leave the house all the time. So asking them point blank, I'm curious, what excites you about Stella and Dot? Like, what has you curious about being a stylist? And then really listening to their answer, because if their answer is like, I really just want the free jewelry, I don't really want to do anything with it, well, then you know where to leave the conversation. Or if it's, I am working full time at this, 6-figure income, and I'm really looking to replace that. You know exactly what to talk to her about. You know how to talk to her about sponsoring and how building a team is the best way to replace any income. If she says, I would really just love to make my car payment every month, you know exactly what to talk to her about. And you know what to tell her as far as expectations go with how much to work and how much she should probably spend time doing this. So really figuring out why they're interested in Stella and Dot will tell you where to lead the conversation. And it's super helpful because you can basically tell them what they want to hear, which, we all know Stella and Dot can fill whatever cup that you have. If you want more girl time, Stella and Dot can do that. Let me tell you how it can give you more girl time. If I need $500 a month, let me tell you how Stella and Dot can give you $500 a month. If I really just want like a new jewelry wardrobe, let me tell you how Stella and Dot can give you a new jewelry or an accessories wardrobe. So really asking that question, listening to her answer, and then following up with basically exactly what she wants to hear. Okay, so number 4, and this is always the hardest one for me, go figure, is let them do the talking. So like I said earlier, you really don't want to just like word vomit to them about everything that you love about Stella and Dot, because that might not be what they love about or what they're looking for. But asking them open-ended questions and letting them tell you the answers and letting them talk about what excites them about Stella and Dot. Or maybe what has them nervous. I ask people that a lot, like, what makes you nervous about doing Stella and Dot? Because sometimes it's a really easy thing to overcome, like, oh, I don't like sales. well, let me tell you how Stellan is not a sales position, and it's really nothing to do with sales. It's more just like making connections with people. Or I'm just really nervous about what people are going to think when I tell them I'm doing, a direct sales company. Or I'm really nervous that I'm going to fail. Or I'm really nervous that I'm not going to do as well as you expect me to do. Okay, well, that's not what this is about. This is about you and what you want out of Stellan. So really trying to let them talk and let them tell you what they're looking for or what excites them or what makes them nervous, and asking you questions. Obviously, if they ask you a long-winded question, you can answer them. Like if they're asking you about like, well, what's the commission that I can make? Obviously answer that question, and then ask something like, is there like a dollar amount that you're looking to make every month? And there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of times we get really nervous about asking people specific dollar amounts, but when I have someone that they tell me like, I'm really looking to supplement my income, that might mean something totally different to everybody. Supplement my income might be $100 a month. Supplement my income might be $5,000 a month. So asking them that question and then giving them realistic expectations about what they should be doing with Stellan to make that income. If somebody's looking for $250 a month, that is a really easy expectation. If you have, 1 to 2 trunk shows a month and get a little bit in outside orders, you can very easily make that. If you bring along one friend, maybe 2 trunk shows a month, you can very easily supplement that. So really asking them questions that's going to let them do the talking is really, really helpful. So then last but not least, and I feel like this is a good one because a lot of times we have, you've said everything you need to say, you've answered all their questions, you've met up for coffee, you've talked about it over the phone, you've sent her all the text information and all of her questions that she's asked, and she's still not signing up. So number 5 is, why not? There is nothing wrong with asking someone, you know what, I was just curious, how come you haven't signed up yet? Is there a reason why you're nervous to sign up? Is there something that you're waiting for? Because it might be something and it might be nothing. Again, they might just be looking for more permission from you to sign up as a stylist. And sometimes it's a big one, like, I don't have the $199 right now, or my husband's not really on board, or I'm nervous this is going to, it's going to take too much time out of my life, or, I don't have a computer, or whatever it is. Asking them, I was just wondering what's stopping you from signing up today. There's nothing wrong with asking that question. Sometimes you have a hard time asking people those kind of point blank questions. But honestly, it might be something that you can easily overcome for her, or it might be something that you guys need to talk through to figure out why she's not signing up. So that's always a really good one to end with, because it happens to me all the time. Like, we've talked about it, I told you everything you need to know, and you're still not signing up, and I don't know why, and I'm just kind of sitting by the phone waiting for you to sign up, and that's not a great place to be. So there's nothing wrong with just saying, you know what, I was curious, how come what's stopping you from signing up today? Like, here's the link, I'd love to help you pick out your jewelry, what's stopping you right now? And just, again, asking her an open-ended question and letting her answer. Because if it's, I don't have the $199 right now, then you can talk it through with her about different ways that she can sign up and make her money back. And, maybe, and I don't like to encourage like putting things on a credit card, but like maybe put it on a credit card and I'll help you do your lunch show. If you live locally, you can borrow my jewelry so you don't have to wait for your stuff to come in, and we can have your show instantly, and that money can be back in your bank account before you even miss it. Or if it's something with her husband, which I get that one a lot, I like to send out like the Stellan husbands video on YouTube and say, you know what, give this to your husband and let him take a peek at this and see. And if he has any more questions, like, feel free to send him my email and I can answer them for you. But just asking her why she's not signing up or what's stopping her or what's holding her back, there's nothing wrong with that. And then at least you can get an answer, because her answer might just be, I really thought more about it and it's just not for me. Then and you're not just waiting by the phone, and you're not, I don't want to say bugging her, but you're not continuing to check in with her, and she doesn't know how to tell you, like, I just really don't want to do this now. But asking her is giving her permission to give you the answer. So those are it. That's it. So number 1, talk to everyone. Number 2, make it simple. Number 3, find out what motivates or excites them. Number 4, let them do the talking. And number 5, why not, or what are you waiting for? And that is it. Honestly, that's it. Karen, do you have anything to add to that?
I was going to say, we were talking about, oh my gosh, it totally just went out of my brain. I was literally just typing it on my phone so I didn't forget.
Oh, shoot, sorry. Was it about one of the topics? Talk to everyone.
Tell me the 4 again.
Talk to everyone. Make it simple. Find out what motivates or excites them. Let them do the talking and asking them why not.
Oh, it was asking them why not. I was just gonna say I've had that happen to me so many times where I had girls that, I mean, even kind of with you, Erica, like I kind of had to say like, it's okay to just do this and try it. And if it's okay if it doesn't work out, because it's true. I have lots of girls that sign up and they decide like they don't want to put any extra time into anything in their life, or they, weren't good at it or whatever. And I think it's okay to push a little bit and say like, like I normally say, what's stopping you from signing up right now? And a lot of times it's just, there's just more fear there. And for me, most of the time, it's, I'm nervous and I'm not going to be any good at this. And that's, to me, that's the biggest one I get. I get other ones like the husband's not on board. I don't know, I just really like cannot fit it in my life right now. But the biggest one I get is people are just really nervous that they're going to suck. And it's okay to give people permission. Like, okay, well, if you suck, then like worst case scenario, you signed up, you've got a bunch of free jewelry, you kind of go through all of that, and like failing just means you don't sell anything, but like, you're not signing a mortgage. Like we're not holding you to anything. I'm going to help you succeed and most likely you're going to do well. But worst case scenario, if like your fears come true, like it's your own business, like you do what you want with it. So I think just talking people through and really giving them permission, for me, is the biggest key with getting people to actually pull the trigger. Sometimes girls are ready, and once we've talked through everything, they're like, okay, I'm going to sign up tonight. But a lot of times we've talked through everything. We've gone through all the things. They've talked to the husband. The husband said okay, and they're just still kind of nervous. And so it's like, okay, what's stopping you? Like, why are we not signing up right now? What's stopping you? And then I get that. And then you just kind of give them permission, like, okay, well, let's just try it. We'll try it for 2 months. Let's do this for 6 days. Cancel your account if you like it, and giving people the reassurance that you're not going to be disappointed with them or frustrated with them or angry with them if they don't succeed, and truly making them understand like, it's not my business you're signing up for. Like, this is your own business you're signing up for. I'm just here to help you, but it's really your business. And I feel like people just get so nervous that they're going to like disappoint you or suck.
Yeah. Kara, you talked about this the other night. Will you talk about this again? When people ask or say things like, I don't have enough time, and ask them really specific questions. Will you talk about that? Because I love what you have to say about that.
Yeah, so I actually got this from another stylist, Tegan. She's on all of our uplines, so everybody would know who Tegan is. So she said that one of the things that she uses for all objections, and this really goes well with sponsoring, and you can also use this for booking and all sorts of things, but asking clarifying questions. So when you're at the point where you're getting to the objections and somebody says like, I just don't have enough time to be a stylist, instead of answering her objection and trying to find a solution, which would be like, oh, it really doesn't take much time, ask her a clarifying question. Well, how much time do you think it takes to be a stylist? Like, how much time do you think you'd have to put into it? And most of the time they kind of come back with, well, I don't know, because they don't really know what times. And then you can get into that. Well, how much money you're looking to make. Because if you're looking to make $250 a month, that's 1 or 2 shows. So you're talking a few hours a week. Do you have a few hours a week? Do you have a few 5 to 10 minute blocks a day? Then you could do this. If somebody says, I don't know that I have a big enough group of people to sell to. You can say, okay, well, either like, how many people do you think you need to know? Or something like that, where you're not giving any sort of an answer, but you're asking them to really think about what their objection is. And so when you say, well, like, how many people do you think you have to know? And they're like, well, I mean, I don't know, like, and then you can dig into it. Well, I mean, if you can host your own and you think you have one other friend that could host for you, like, you could launch your business with just that, your own show and another friend hosting for you, or your mom hosting for you, or your aunt hosting for you. I'm trying to think of other objections I get that this works really well for. I don't have enough time. I don't know enough people.
I'm not good at sales. I'm not good at sales. Yeah. I'm not salesy. I get that one a lot. Yep. And that's an easy one, because I'm like, well, what do you think about this as sales? I don't know.
Do you feel like I've ever sold to you? Do you feel like that I've ever sold something to you? Or do you feel like I've just connected you with things and that you really loved and like, gave you my opinion? So Yeah, asking clarifying questions.
I had that conversation at the stylist that I help with her show today. We talked about the difference between sales and what we do. And I said, I make a point is to think about this job as making connections. I'm not selling people jewelry. I'm just making a connection with someone, and I'm sharing something that I like and something that I think that they would like. And if they don't like it, I'm not going to force them to buy it. I would hate for someone to leave a show and open up their package that they get in the mail and be like, gosh, that stupid Stella Dot girl made me buy this necklace, and now it's going to mock me every day when I go to get dressed. I want someone to pick up that necklace and be like, I love this necklace. And the girl that sold it to me, we had so much fun connecting at Kara's show. I want people to leave feeling good about what they spent. I also had a show last week, and I had a couple girls that had attended that were doing a No Shop November. 10 minutes. Okay. We have 10 more minutes. I had two girls that were doing a No Shop November, and one of them left. She had a huge wish list, and she said, call me on December 1st. And the next girl, it was just her and I and the hostess, and she was going back and forth about signing up for Style Club and spending $50 to get the free gift and all this stuff. And I could kind of tell that it was weighing on her. And I finally said, you know what? I'm going to make an executive decision, and I'm not going to let you buy anything today. I will call you December 1st. We'll figure out what you want to get. I have all this stuff in your wish list, but I don't want you to leave today with a pit in your stomach feeling like you failed at your No Shop November. And I could see the weight lift off her shoulders. And she was literally like, thank you so much, because I felt so bad about coming today and not shopping. And I said, you know what? That's not what this is about. And I know for a fact, she's going to be a long-term customer. She's going to do a lot of her holiday shopping with me solely because I didn't make a $50 sale that day. I'm not in the business of making sales. I'm in the business of making connections with people. And I made a connection with that girl, and I know for sure she's going to be a lifetime customer. And it was that one small act that I did that made her feel comfortable about not spending. So anyway, I went off on a tangent there. Sorry.
I also like to say, when people say, like, I'm not a salesperson, I don't like selling things, I like to say, I'm not a salesperson, and that's actually the job description is not a salesperson. The job description is a personal stylist. Mm-hmm. And what a personal stylist is somebody that just connects people with things that they already love and gravitate towards, and help them figure out how they're going to wear it daily, how it's going to, how they can like add it into their life, what they're already doing. But I don't sell anything. I don't sell anything.
Nope. Okay. Kara, do you have anything more to add? I think we hit all the bases. Erica, do you have any questions? I'm going to keep recording to see. So we have 8 minutes left. I'm just going to keep recording. So if you have any questions, let me know, or we can stop recording if you want to ask them off record.
I don't think I have any questions. I took a ton of notes.
Okay.
Front and back.
Love it.
Okay, yeah. So how about who are you chatting with right now, and like where are you at in those conversations? Like, I know if you were talking to your cousin, is that like?
Yeah, she was like a pretty hard no. Okay. And then I was talking to my best friend and another like athletic trainer friend that I have. And both of their objections were that they just didn't have the money right now. And to check in with them in like a month or so. The one just put like an offer in on a home. And so Kara actually used you as an example about you guys building your house and how well you've been able to do. And both of them would be signing up like to supplement their income. And so I kind of talked about like when we were kind of going back and forth about how like I'd be there to help them and how quickly they can make that back, and how like it was such a big decision for me as well, because I just never felt like I could, I thought it was going to be way, way, way more work than it was to get that investment back. And I was able to get it back in my first show. But it just seemed like the timing wasn't right for a few of them. And then I did a couple more reach outs today, but haven't heard anything back yet.
Okay. One thing I will say, when people talk about the $199 being a problem, I throw this out. Kind of like Amy said, I never am somebody who wants you to like accrue any debt by any means. But I say, if you put it on your credit card, you're going to be about $250 out the door. And I like to be upfront and honest with that, because I don't like saying like it's $199 and then they go to sign up and they're like, wait, what's all this tax and shipping and stuff? And it's like, well, it's $250, under $250, but you're somewhere between $2 and $250 depending on their taxes. So I'm like, you're going to be under $250 out the door. If you can put that on your credit card for 2 weeks, like depending on your payment cycle, you will have that money back on your card in 2 weeks, and I will help you do that. If you're willing to put the work in, I will make sure that we get that money back on your card. So I sometimes break it down for them because like depending on their credit card cycle bill, like
Right.
that doesn't make any sort of a difference in their budget then. Because if they're, you know what I'm saying, if like their bill's a month out, which normally it is, normally you pay like whatever they put on their credit card today, they actually don't pay on for another month. So I think like breaking it down in that way for them.
Yeah. There's
and then
something, another one I like to, can I add something to that real quick? I think because a lot of other companies, not like Stella Dot, but that are like direct sales companies, you have to buy a certain amount every month. And it's this like, it's this payment that you have to keep paying. It's $199 once, and you literally don't ever have to spend any more money if you don't want to. And sometimes me telling people that is a huge sigh of relief because like, just as an example with Rodan and Fields, you have to purchase a certain amount every single month to make money. If you don't purchase the skincare routine, like stuff every single month, you don't make any money. It's not like that with Stella Dot. You could literally pay the $199 once. You get your $350 in whatever you choose, plus the $150 in bestsellers, and you could do all of your business just based off what you got in that starter kit, and you don't ever have to put in another dime if you don't want to. Once you get your stuff and you see how cute it is, and then you get product credit and everything else, you'll probably end up spending a little bit. But once you sign up as a stylist, our stylist discount is 25% off. When you first sign up, it's 50% off. And I can help you earn so much free product credit as long as you just do what I tell you to in the first 30 and 60 days. You really don't have to put that much into the business. So I think that's really helpful for some people because, like I said, with a lot of these things, like you have to invest and you have to buy stuff and you have to, you know, keep having it. Otherwise you don't make any money. You could literally just sign up and never buy anything ever again. We're not going to take your jewelry away. Like I always joke with people about that too. Cause like I know with some of these companies, like you have to buy stock and then you don't make your money back until you sell off what you buy. No, that's not the case. Like you buy what you love and then everything is online. So just kind of like breaking it down and showing them how different Stella Dot is versus some of the other direct sales companies, I think is really helpful too. So letting them know like it's the $199 or like $250-ish after tax and shipping, and you don't have to, like, you really don't have to spend anything more if you don't want to, and you'll get free product. Like when you first sign up in those first 30 and 60 days, you'll get a ton of free product. So then you can get more stuff to add to your display and you still don't have to really pay out of your pocket. Like you have to pay shipping. Maybe $10.95, I think, is the most expensive, like standard shipping on like heavy stuff. But I think that is sometimes helpful too. Cause when I tell them like you were saying, Kara, about, people not wanting to fail. I'm like, we're not going to take your jewelry away. Like it's not like we're going to take the stuff back. Like you get to pick out what you want and then we go from there. So, okay. Anyway, Kara, keep talking. We have 3 minutes. So keep saying what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I've said that to people before, like kind of broken it down for them. Like if you can spare $250 on your credit card that you're not going to accrue any interest on it or anything like that, in 2 weeks, you can have that money back. And I think making them understand, we'll have your launch show. We'll do it as soon as your stuff gets here. So that'll basically be in your first week. And then you get paid that following week. So that's 2 weeks from the day you sign up. We can have that money back on your credit card. And then you'll just be earning money from there on out. Like Amy said, like there's no buy-ins. There's no one. Yeah.
The other thing I like to remind people of is, and I feel like this helps me, especially being in like the position I am, like we have a large team. I've been doing this for a while. What I always tell people is like, this is your business your way. My goal for you, what I'm going to work hard for you is that you're not out any money. I never want someone to sign up and be out money. So it's around $250 to sign up with tax and shipping. I'm gonna coach you to sell at least $1,000 in your first 30 days. That's gonna put that $250 back in your pocket, and you are back at zero. And then we can go from there. I just don't ever want anyone to be out of money. And when I tell people that, again, I feel like a big weight is lifted off their shoulders, and they feel like, oh my gosh, she really is like, she really wants me to do well. And like her goal for me is that, you know, I don't have any debt. Whereas a lot of times it's like, okay, well, my goal is I want to earn this trip, and I want you to do this much because it's for me. So when I tell them like, my goal for you is to just not be out any money, I feel like that's really reassuring, and they kind of know that I'm in it for them, because that really is the goal. Like we know all the rewards that we get when someone quick start qualifies and jump start qualifies, but the most important thing is they've got that $250 back in their pocket and they're not out any money, and then they're happy to go from there. And a lot of times people end up doing more if they're able to sell that in their first 30 and 60. We have 1 minute. Anything else we want to add or chat about in 50 seconds?
I don't think so.
Okay. That was it. Yay. Okay. We will do something again next Sunday. I think I'm going to put a poll up to see what people want to hear on. I'll give like 2 or 3 options. Kara and I'll maybe chat about a couple different things that we can talk about, and we'll go from there. So that's it.
Cool.
Thanks for
Thank
joining,
you.
guys. Yeah. All right. I will talk to y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.